You know, an egg is so much more than just breakfast. It's a perfectly engineered little vessel designed for one of nature's most incredible journeys. Inside this fragile shell, a new life is about to be built, completely from scratch. So how on earth does it all happen? Let's dive into this 21-day miracle.
And that's really the big question, isn't it? How does a single cell, tucked away inside this shell, transform into a breathing, walking creature in just 3 short weeks? The answer? Well, it reveals this stunning story of biological design and absolutely perfect timing.
But hang on, before that 21-day clock can even start ticking, the vessel itself has to be built. And believe me, the construction process is just as remarkable as the journey that's going to take place inside of it. I want you to think of it like a biological assembly line running inside the hen. It all starts with the yolk, which gets packed full of nutrients in the ovary. As that yolk travels down the oviduct, it gets wrapped in these crucial layers. First, you have the cushioning egg white, then a really tough inner membrane, and finally the hard outer shell. Every single layer is a critical piece of engineering.
So now, the vessel is built. It's a marvel of natural design, for sure. But right now, it's really just potential. To kickstart the real journey from egg to chick, it needs one final critical ingredient: a spark.
And this is what brings us to the real start of our story: fertilization. This is the exact moment that turns a simple egg into a complete blueprint for a new life. And what's interesting is that fertilization actually happens before the shell even forms. The rooster's genetic material merges with the egg cell while it's still inside the hen. That single moment creates the complete genetic blueprint for a new chick, and it gets embedded right within that nutrient-rich yolk. So the egg is basically a mission-ready survival kit. The yolk, that's the pantry. It is stocked with all the food the embryo is going to need. The egg white is the cushion, protecting it from any bumps or shocks. And the membrane and shell, well, that's the armor, a tough barrier against the entire outside world.
Okay, so the blueprint is set, and the survival kit is all packed. The stage is officially ready. Now the 21-day countdown can finally begin. And this is a period of silent, hidden, and totally dramatic transformation. 21 days, yep, 3 weeks. That is the precise amount of time needed for that single fertilized cell to develop into a fully formed chick. Not 20 days, not 22. It's a biological clock, and it's ticking with incredible precision.
But here's the thing. That clock doesn't just start ticking on its own. The fertilized egg can actually stay in a state of suspended animation until one essential element is introduced: constant, steady warmth. And this is where the mother hen becomes the absolute guardian of the whole process. She sits on the eggs, using her own body heat to raise their internal temperature and kickstart development. But she doesn't just sit there. Oh no, she meticulously turns the eggs with her beak, making sure that heat is distributed perfectly and evenly. It's a full-time job. As soon as that warmth is applied, development kicks off immediately. In just the first week, the tiny embryo grows incredibly fast, feeding on the yolk. By the second week, key features are taking shape inside its protective armor. And then, by day 21, the hidden transformation is finally complete.
After 3 weeks of silent development, we've reached the climax of our story. It is time for the great escape.
Inside that shell, a fully formed chick is now ready to go. It's used up almost its entire food supply, it's filling up all the space, and it really needs to get out. Hatching is just an incredible feat of strength. The chick uses a tiny, sharp point on its beak, it's called an egg tooth, to puncture the inner membrane. Then it begins this exhausting work of chipping away at the shell, rotating its body to create a crack. Finally, with one big push, it breaks free from its prison and enters the world. And what's truly amazing is that this chick doesn't emerge helpless at all. It is born ready for action. It can already see, it can walk, and it instinctively knows to follow its mother, ready to learn the ways of the world from day one. But the story doesn't just end with a single hatch. This incredible 21-day journey is really just one small part of a much larger, repeating cycle of life. And this cycle just keeps going with incredible speed. In just 4 to 6 months, that newly hatched chick grows into an adult hen, ready to lay eggs of her own and begin the entire process all over again. And how often does this cycle have the potential to repeat? Well, get this. A single,
healthy hen can lay up to 300 eggs in a single year. That's 300 chances for this 21-day miracle to unfold.
So from the perfect assembly of that shell to the final great escape, the journey from egg to chick is just a marvel of biological engineering. This tiny, perfect process repeats itself hundreds of times a year for just one hen. It really makes you wonder, what other everyday miracles are we overlooking in the natural world all around us?